and welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a speed build in the world of Evergreen Harbor. This particular lot is the Stonestreet Apartments number 3, although I don't know where apartments 1 and 2 are because I think the one next to it is number 4. But anyways, it's also located in the neighborhood of Grimm's Quarry, and it came out to be 34,067 simoleons. After I finished the floor plan, it looks like I ended up doing a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment. You can download this off the gallery if you like it. My origin ID is spicensprinkles without the apostrophes or spaces, and it'll also be written in the description if it's easier for you to see that way. So I decided that I wanted to go with this like teal mint color, and actually a lot of the stuff in this apartment is from the Eco Lifestyle pack, as well as the Dream Home Decorator. They ended up just going really well together, especially the woods and everything that you'll see later. I think that rug is from Eco Lifestyle, and I think so is the couch may be from Dream Home Decorator. I'm not sure at this point. There's so many packs and so many items. It took me a while to figure out what kind of coffee table I wanted to have. I felt like either they were too large or they didn't quite match, but I ended up using the Dream Home Decorator one, and as well as having a fireplace in the living room. I feel like I always use those cubicles there because I really like, they actually have clutter on them. If I could have my way, I would have more clutter. If they could just have a clutter pack, that would be amazing. I like decorating all the shelves and counters in the kitchen. It also took me a while to figure out which curtains I wanted to use. I feel like half the time they don't fit the windows properly. And actually the windows for this apartment, if you don't have this pack, or if you weren't aware, you can actually put in a cheat and it'll actually upgrade the windows in these apartments. So the way Eco Lifestyle works is you can like improve the neighborhood that you're living in, and when you do that, that upgrades the buildings in it as well, which means the apartments will then end up having better windows and better doors. And there's a cheat that you can put in to do that. I didn't do that here. I decided to leave it as is. So if you decide to use the apartment, it'll fit properly. But off the top of my head, I do not remember what the cheat is that you need to put in, but I'm sure you can easily look it up. So I decided to also go with just a lot of green and just this really subtle, relaxing tone. And I know that they added all those boxes that I added on those shelves with the Dream Home Decorator, and I love those because I feel like it's really realistic that you'd have like random boxes and things like that sitting around on your cabinets, so you're covering up all of your clutter. And I do end up, I think, replacing this plant, although I really do like it. I think I swapped it out for some candles just to add a little more light. I do like the light the candles give in this game. It makes it a little more warm. So right here, I'm actually putting in the paint for the dining room, and I decided to use some columns to help define the space that what will be the kitchen. I use those a lot just because I hate having just like a random line of paint and tile or just different paints that just butt up right against each other. So I feel like the columns help a lot in defining that space. I cut it out, but it actually took me forever to figure out what kind of dining table I want to use. I went through so many, and so many chairs. I forgot which pack that one's actually from. But of course I put a plant in the corner. I love putting plants and stuff, all my builds, but I don't actually have them in real life because I can't keep them alive. And then I think I do add something on that wall, but that will come a little bit later. And I actually really like the way this light looks in this apartment. And as you can see, I also put like a ceiling fan in the living room, which I don't do that often. I feel like I always forget that exists in the game. Although I live in the southern United States, so it's very hot. And so fans are very useful. You'd think I'd be using them more. And I decided to add in a small island counter space to give it a little more space here. For your Sims to prep. I believe they can still prep on that. I know that both of those pieces are kind of the end pieces of the counter. So I'm thinking that will still work. And they actually had some nice matching top cabinets, which I was really excited about. And I actually tried putting like a stove hood over the stove, but nothing seemed to match right. So I just ended up cutting that out and just putting in the smoke detector, which is also really important because your Sims will try to burn down their house. And I actually had a hard time too trying to pick out the clutter that I wanted in here, but I did add that little like cake stand. It's got a cover on it on the island. I know that they added that, I think, in a recent like update. I forgot what they're calling it now, like a Sims delivery, I believe. But yeah, I added that. I like putting that in there because I also like to bake, so I like to put that in my Sims apartments and homes. And of course, I randomly found that coat rack, which I always have a hard time finding. So when I found it, I went ahead and put it by the door so I don't forget about it. And I am happy that I remembered a trash can. It's kind of a toss-up whether that actually happens or not. And I like the idea of having like the tea organizer on the counter, but I do think I get rid of that in place of some plants. I think the plant that's actually in the corner in the dining room and the one that I'm about to put on the counter came from the new plant pack. And I do not remember what the name of that is. But it has some really awesome pieces in it. And again, good clutter. So I use it very often. And then I think this is where I actually add something on the wall. Oh yeah, this really adorable little chalkboard. I always like the idea of having a chalkboard in my house or in my kitchen, like to put reminders or stuff on, but I feel like I'm never going to change it. It's going to have reminders or the menu from like weeks and weeks ago, so I don't ever try to use it. And that piece I just put on the wall in the hallway, I believe I take it out and I try to use it in several other places in the apartment. It does actually end up going somewhere. I believe it ended up in the bedroom, but we'll see that later. And I also put the aprons on the wall, which again came with a patch or the Sims delivery earlier this year. And I thought that was just like a really cute touch. Again, like all the clutter just makes it more realistic. I did rearrange this a little bit and I decided to put a wall there. I felt like it gave some separation to the shower and bathtub spaces. And sorry for all of the spinning around of the camera. I was trying to decide what I wanted to do in this bathroom. And I always, every time I do a bathroom, I like using the cabinetry that you would use like in the kitchen. But because of the drawers and everything, I feel like that's realistic, at least where I live. But they don't have a lot of sink options. I feel like this sink is one that I would use in a kitchen since it's like big and kind of industrial looking, but they don't have many options for something smaller. I also went back and forth on what to actually put on that side of the bathroom and like what to put on the wall. And I added in a couple of rugs. I know at least in like my bathrooms, I always like to have a rug in front of the sink and in front of the bathtub, and usually in front of the shower too. I didn't put one here. I figured it'd be a little overkill putting them everywhere. Just to make sure, the floor doesn't get wet and all that kind of good stuff. And I put the organizer over the toilet, which, oh my goodness, I'm having a hard time deciding how to rotate this basket of like lotions or whatever that is. But at least I finally got it in place. So this is actually going to be the bedroom. And I'm actually really excited about this one. I ended up putting in a small seating area, which I always like to do. I just feel like it's a cool thing to have in a bedroom. Not that I have that in my house, but it's Sims, so we can do whatever we want. So I do end up putting a small seating area over in the corner, and I really like this accent wall. So some of this wood in the back, and I believe I do change this bed. Yeah. So I went through several different options, all kind of in this cream beige wood tone arena. And then I ended up using, again, some stuff from Dream Home Decorator for the end tables. It matches the coffee table out in the living room that you can kind of see over in the corner. And then I ended up, again, using some lights from Dream Home Decorator above the end tables because it was just so dark over in that corner. But I think that helped a lot. And I believe, yeah, like I said, that we ended up using that plant thing on the wall in a minute above the bed. And again, I think the dresser, I was thinking about using the one that came with Eco Lifestyle, but I feel like that one's so large. And so this one from Dream Home Decorator just fit better in this space. And I forgot which chairs I ended up actually using in this seating area. Clearly I had a hard time deciding based on the fact that I'm going through so many of them. And then, yeah, I think I used the that small stool that came with the island pack. Island living? Is that the name of it? I always forget. So I end up, I think, putting a plant on that because, again, I put plants everywhere, even though I don't use them in real life. I also include like a tiny TV in that corner so you can sit and like watch that. Although I don't know if it's necessary given that this is like a small apartment and there's not going to be a ton of Sims living here. Although what I will make, the office could easily be converted to like a child's room or teenage room or just an additional roommate room, if you would like to do so. And then so a little bit of artwork, and then I believe I add like a rug or two in here, and just to help make it just look cozier. I really love that kind of fuzzy rug over there, which I think came from Snowy Escape. And I like to size it up because it's so small. I think I used the same rug though in the bathroom, but so this one's just, oh, yep, see, we have the appearance of that plant on the wall. Finally made it into the build somewhere after I tried it in so many places. And then adding some clutter on the dresser. I also like using the magazines for clutter, although like I don't actually use magazines very often. I guess use them would be reading them. That's how you use a magazine. But I'm adding a little bit clutter to the end tables, and then I think we're going to move right into the office as well. Once I add a little more to the bathroom. Again, I had some trouble like filling in that space since it was kind of a large bathroom. You probably could have made it like a little bit smaller. Could have taken out the shower, but I liked it being larger. So in this space for our office, there ends up being like, yes, this like bookcase, I guess you would call it, from Snowy Escape. And I add like a desk and a chess table and an easel for your sim to get some of their skills up. And then painting, of course, is a good way to make money, so you can do that on the side as well. I wasn't sure exactly what the sim's occupation would be, whoever's in this house, so you have lots of options. You can kind of do whatever you want to do with this. And I believe, yeah, there is a chess table here in a second. And I actually, trying to fit a plant in between those two things on the wall actually took me a minute. I'm not sure why, but I feel like The Sims has these insanely large plants like the one I just had on the screen. And it was just hard to find one that actually fit properly in that space. So I went through several of them before I found the one that I liked, that I thought really looked really nice. It didn't kind of overtake the whole wall. And then here in a second, we should be adding the chess table and the easel. And I believe I do put some art on that far wall on the right as well to kind of fill in that space. And then I don't often actually put chess tables in my builds, although I feel like I should because it's a really good way to increase your sim's logic skill. But I don't know, I never think about it until later, and I actually need my sim to learn the logic skill. So we're going to add the easel here in a second. And then I know that they have like that rug that kind of looks like newspaper. Sometimes I put that underneath the easel, but I guess in this case, I don't know, this sim is really good at painting. It doesn't get paint on the floor, which is really awesome. But we are actually getting close to the end of the build here. So I'm going to show you some screenshots, and I hope you enjoy those. And if you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I hope you have a really sweet day.